A lot of you guys are probably making the same mistakes on your videos as these creators. And by fixing these mistakes, you'll make better videos and you'll be prouder of your work. I asked you guys to send me videos to roast and critique. And although I got a lot of submissions, I selected only 3 for this episode. Mr. Gilles, or Gillis, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. You did an awesome job with cinematography. I liked a lot of the shot choices. You had nice shallow depth of field. I love me some bokeh. And you added some extra camera motion in post, it looks like, as we can see pretty clearly in this shot, where the background is zooming closer to the camera, creating a parallax effect. Adding this digital motion in post is a great way to make your shots more dynamic. So for example, in this shot, I'm using a plugin from my buddy Dylan Bates to add extra motion on top of the motion that the drone is already doing. So it just spices up your shots a little bit more, in my opinion. But, Mr. Gilles, there are some things that I would suggest improving or changing. First, the video was 1 or 2 decibels too loud. As we can see by our audio meters here, it's clipping at 1. And you can bring these audio meters up just by pressing this little audio meters icon right here. So all I did was press the keyboard shortcut Control and minus to lower the overall volume of the mix by 1 decibel, so it doesn't go past 0 and you don't have any clipping going on. But the big thing that I'm gonna roast you on here is if I crop into her skin is an inaccurate color, as we can see by the fact that it's not on the skin tone line here. This is no bueno. So I did this lady some justice and made a tweak or 2 on this downloaded YouTube video, mind you, because I don't have the original footage, and we were able to get her looking a lot more natural. And this is a mistake I see all the time in people's videos. Just double check that your subject's skin is an accurate color of skin, unless you're going for a really stylized filmic look. I'll leave a link to some free videos of mine that teach this, as well as my color grading masterclass if you want to fully master color correction and color grading. But Monsieur Gilles, solid job, and thank you for the submission. On to the next one. Lots to say about this short film from a filmmaker named Constantin, but a lot of it is positive. I'm still gonna roast you though. There are a few things that I noticed that definitely need fixing. First, the cinematography and choreography was fantastic. A lot of people think that filming action sequences is a walk in the park, but it really is not easy to make everything look fluid, and you were able to do that pretty well. I'm not sure if you guys noticed this, but Constantin either had someone throw something at this log, or he was out of frame blowing on these wood chips, because this doesn't appear to be an overlay that he added in Final Cut. And if you don't know what an overlay is, it is a clip or an asset that you can throw over your timeline, and when you change the blend mode, it'll mix with your footage and make it appear like it was in the recorded shot. These are actual pieces of wood, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Constantin. He of course added in the smoke overlay and stuff in post, all the different bullets that are flying by and muzzle flashes. But the use of real elements like this wood combined with these overlays really helps to make a budget film look more professional. So really creative job, dude. That's such a smart thing to add. Constantin also did a phenomenal job with the sound design. But Constantin, the big issue with this short film that I had, everything was way too quiet. The video isn't even getting to -12 decibels sometimes. And because of this, even with my computer volume at full blast, I could barely hear all the hard work that you put into creating an immersive soundscape. So what I did was just quickly hopped in to the inspector window and I went to the audio inspector and I increased the loudness and adjusted the uniformity of the entire audio, which this acts basically just like an easy to use compressor. And now we can hear these layered risers and hits that you so carefully added to highlight key moments. We can hear the clothing movement sound effects and footstep sound effects that you added so the viewer feels like they're there with you as she's running. So the big takeaway here is to try and get your total audio mix to sit between negative, I don't know which way to hold my hand, between -6 decibels and 0 decibels. Your color grade can have a big impact on the overall feel of your film for a viewer, and in my opinion, I would have gone with something like this for a couple of reasons. Keep in mind that I am grading a downloaded YouTube video here, so it's gonna be looking a lot less clean than it would be if I had the original footage. But for one, this is an action short film, so I would love to see more of a stylized look that feels less straight out of camera. I also felt that it was a bit too warm overall, so you want the viewer to feel like this is a cold, uninviting, and dangerous place to be. And since the weather looks cloudy as well, I would capitalize on that with cooler tones in the shadows. And then also, since there's a lot of oranges and yellows in the environment, adding blue works to create more color contrast, since blue is orange's opposing color. This is just my preference. I would have preferred something just a little bit moodier and filmic, but still a great job. You did an awesome job in this sequence with what's called eye trace. Eye trace is where you make editing choices to guide your viewer's eyes into what part of the frame you want them to be looking at. So this is especially important with fast-paced sequences like this, because the video will seem smoother if the viewer doesn't have to scan the frame to find the subject. You did that well here. Our eyes, as we're watching this sequence, is kind of locked into one area, which makes the viewing experience easy. But for some reason, you did not do that well with this sequence. My eyes were having trouble locking on to the most important part of each shot because the shots weren't positioned correctly. So I just cut up the video and resized and repositioned your clips. So just like with your first sequence, everything now seems to flow a little bit better. And you especially notice this when it gets to this end shot. In your original video, you kind of aren't looking at her and then you have to snap to her holding the gun. But just by scaling in and moving the shot to the right a little bit, it helps to make everything lined up so your eyes don't have to move so much. But by the way, I love that shot, that POV on the gun. That's a really cool shot. All in all though, Constantin, amazing job. Awesome cinematography, and you did a killer job with sound design. You used a lot of great sound effects. The music was a good choice as well. And if you are looking to find the best music out there for your videos, as well as sound effects, it brings me to the sponsor of today's video, who I'm always thrilled to have be a sponsor, and that is Artlist. I've been using Artlist since 2017, and this was before I even had a YouTube channel. But since 2017, a lot has changed with Artlist, and I'm so glad it has, because they've added things like their AI search tool. So if you don't exactly know what you're looking for, let's say with a sound effect, you're looking for a cinematic metallic transition, you can just type that in, and the AI search feature will search through their huge library to find you something that fits what you're looking for. It also works for their music and their stock footage, and you can get a little bit more specific. So for example, if you want to find Middle Eastern music, just type in Middle Eastern into the AI search tool and you'll get a big list and you can find exactly what you need for your project. And something that I really like is that if you click this button, it'll show you similar songs to the one that you like. That way, if you have a project that has a consistent theme, you can just download a bunch of those songs that are similar and you're set. The AI search tool is just one of many tools that Artlist has added that has made my time creating videos easier, more efficient, fun, and faster. And I'm grateful that they're continuing to update the service and what they provide. So if you're looking to try this out for 2 months for free, I will put a link in the description. So if you go through that link, you should be able to get 2 months, test it out, see if you like it, but I know you will because Artlist is the best. That's why I've been using it since 2017. I really love that intro, Leia. I love the idea of having the quick flashes of your journey to your first D1 track meet, and then it ending up being on you on the line. Is that what it's called? I'm not even sure. Getting ready to race. So I think that was a really cool idea. But there are some things you could have done to improve this intro. So one more time, here is your intro. And I just made some very small tweaks to adjust it, and here's what we have. So like we talked about with Constantin's short film, you can really help to make a fast cut sequence feel smoother by either making the shots fill more of the frame, so basically more close-up shots, so it's easier for the viewer to look at what you want them to look at, or position the shots so that the subject from one shot to the next is in a similar spot in the frame. In your quick cut intro, it's a bit all over the place and it's slightly disorienting because everything's happening so fast. So next time, just scale and position your shots so that the thing that you want the viewer to look at is in the same spot from one frame or one shot to the next. Also, some of your shots are 3 frames and some are 4 frames. So it would make it even more smoother if you made these all the same frame duration, if you made them the same length. And you can do that just by selecting your clips and hitting Control D and then typing in 3, so they're 3 frames each. You might have heard that I added a little bit more sound design, not much, but just 2 risers from Artlist to help build the anticipation of the fast-paced sequence, and 2 bass drops to highlight the longer shot change that you have with you at the starting block. Also, in your intro, the clicks from the sound effect that you added don't quite match up with each shot change. And ideally, you would want to hear a click every time the shot changes. So the exact point in between those cuts, you would want to hear a click. Because if we see something in a video, we expect to hear a complementary sound to it, even if it's added in and not a natural sound. So a few things that I loved about your video, other than your intro, I do love that you took the time to add sound effects to your pop-ups and to your text. That makes a huge difference in the overall quality of a video, and it didn't go unnoticed by me. I loved your use of the magnetic mask at this part right here. You even remembered to grab some B-roll for the video, which is a nice touch. It's always good to just get shots of random things that are in your area. So if it's for a vlog, you of course are going to be filming yourself, but also the environment. But something that I noticed, you hear all these popping noises in your audio.
We're here in the airport. I made it with my food. I'm happy.
That's because you just threw down different clips on your timeline that had different audio and you called it a day. Imagine your playhead, and this is maybe a little dumb, imagine your playhead is like this little guy who's running across your audio. And when he runs from a clip that has a certain audio level and gets to a clip that has a totally different audio level, he can't just smoothly run from that lower level to the higher level without tripping over it and making a noise, or jumping to reach and making a noise. He needs a ramp so he can smoothly get from one audio to the next. That is what crossfades are for. So if you select both of your clips and you press Option T, you can create automatic crossfades. So basically that little man can run from one level, go smoothly down and smoothly up to the new level of audio. If the rest of your audio mix is quiet though, that can result in you hearing the audio go quiet in between those clips. So if that bothers you, you can create what are called J and L cuts. So what I do is press Control S, or you can right click and click Expand Audio, and then either bring this part of shot 1 in to create an L cut, or bring the beginning of shot 2 in to create a J cut. That way, the change in audio never sounds like it's getting quiet. It just smoothly changes from one audio to the next. Also, I would recommend thinking about how you can make each vlog feel like a more cohesive story. Since this is about your first collegiate track meet, adding some narration leading up to the races would help build anticipation, and it would make your storytelling stronger. The pop-up texts are fine and all, and you can keep those if that's what you want, but adding narration about what you're doing, how you're feeling, what's going on through your mind would make it much more engaging for your viewers, I think. You don't always have to give context like that in every vlog and for every situation, but for this and for people who don't know much about track or weren't at this meet, it does help to have some sort of context. And the final critique I have for you, Leia, is to remember this phrase when you're editing: murder your darlings. What does that even mean, Dylan? If you've never heard of that before, it is a popular creative phrase that for an editor means although you may like a lot of the clips that you have on your timeline, after all, you shot them and you're proud of them probably, story comes first, and story is king. Even though you may love those clips or a certain sequence, if they don't help the story in some way, get rid of them or trim them down a lot. So how it relates to your video, Leia, I'm not saying that you should remove everything before the track meet, because we do need some type of build-up, and we do want to see what you do before and after, but you could have cut out a lot of, for example, the pizza eating sequence, the pizza eating scene, and with other shots, just cut down on how long they were in general. I realize this is difficult though, because when you film and then edit your own videos, it is very hard to just cut out footage that you put hard work into filming. But it is necessary to do, and it does help to make the video and story more engaging. You did an awesome job though, Leia, and I hope you do well on the rest of your videos and also on the rest of your track meets. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a huge favor and let me know that you did in the comments. That way I can get to working on episode 2. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.